how can as a man I teach him? You know, when I shoot, a deflection, and the ball is going to finish here or here. It's impossible. It's just completely instinct. It's natural. And I said many times recently, he did it in Norway, in Austria, in Germany, he's doing here. You don't have to say anything.
For years, Pep Guardiola chased one goal that always seemed just out of reach. Manchester City had everything a manager could ask for: world-class players, huge investment, and complete trust from the club. Every transfer window brought another major signing, another piece added to a squad built to dominate English football. The spending climbed higher and higher, with defenders, midfielders, fullbacks, wingers, and a goalkeeper, all arriving for enormous fees. On paper, City looked unstoppable, but European glory kept slipping away. Pep Guardiola spent more than €1 billion building Manchester City. He brought in fullbacks for around £50 million, midfielders worth £100 million, the most expensive signing in English football history at the time, along with a goalkeeper, a holding midfielder, a winger, and a defender. Season after season, he reshaped the squad, improving every position until City became one of the strongest teams in the world. 4 Premier League titles followed, yet the Champions League trophy continued to escape them. In 2021, Chelsea defeated Manchester City in the Champions League final. A year later, Real Madrid ended their hopes again in a dramatic semi-final. It had been 11 years since Guardiola had last lifted Europe's biggest club trophy, and questions about whether he could win it again only grew louder. Then, in the summer of 2022, City signed 1-year-old Norwegian striker Erling Haaland from Borussia Dortmund for £51 million. After Haaland scored twice on his Premier League debut, Fabio Capello immediately said they finally have a powerful centre-forward. Many people believed the pressure was higher than ever. After years of massive investment and repeated disappointments in Europe, the expectation was simple. Manchester City had to win the Champions League, and Guardiola had the squad to make it happen. As one football expert put it, this time, Guardiola has no excuse. He has to win the Champions League. That season, everything finally came together. Erling Haaland scored an incredible 52 goals in his first campaign, helping City win the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the long-awaited Champions League to complete a historic treble. Later, when Guardiola was asked what he had taught Haaland during their time together, his answer surprised everyone. Today, Guardiola has moved on from Manchester City, but Haaland continues to deliver on the biggest stage. At the 2026 FIFA World Cup, Norway qualified for the tournament for the first time in 28 years, and Haaland wasted no time making an impact. In his opening match, he found the net twice within the first 40 minutes, showing that his scoring ability was never tied to just one manager or one tactical system. Erling Haaland was born in Leeds, England during the summer of 2000. His father, Alf Inge Haaland, was playing professionally for Leeds United at the time. Not long after, the family returned to Bryn, a small town in southwestern Norway, where Haaland spent countless hours developing his game. During the long Scandinavian winters, he trained on indoor pitches, constantly working with a ball at his feet and sharpening the skills that would later make him one of football's most feared strikers. His rise happened at remarkable speed. Haaland made his professional debut for Bryn FK at just 15 years old before scoring on his debut for Molde at 16. Then came the 2019 FIFA Under-20 World Cup. Norway faced Honduras, and Haaland produced one of the most extraordinary individual performances ever seen in the tournament, scoring an unbelievable 9 goals in a single match. Just 6 months later, he stepped onto the Champions League stage for the first time with Red Bull Salzburg, ready to prove he belonged among Europe's elite. Erling Haaland made an immediate impact in the Champions League, scoring a first-half hat-trick on his debut for Red Bull Salzburg and announcing himself to the football world. It did not take long for Europe's biggest clubs to take notice. In January 2020, Borussia Dortmund signed him, and he wasted no time showing exactly why they wanted him. Coming off the bench in his first Bundesliga appearance, Haaland scored a stunning hat-trick in just 23 minutes. It was the perfect introduction to German football and the beginning of an incredible run. Over the next 2.5 years, Haaland's numbers were almost impossible to believe. He scored 86 goals in just 89 matches for Dortmund, averaging nearly a goal every game. Those figures become even more impressive when compared to another legendary striker. At the same stage of his Dortmund career, Robert Lewandowski had scored 39 goals and was 3 years older than Haaland. Long before Manchester City, Guardiola, or the billion-euro squad built around him, Haaland already had the finishing ability that made defenders nervous every time he stepped onto the pitch. In March 2024, after a goalless Premier League draw between Manchester City and Arsenal, Roy Keane shared an opinion on Sky Sports that sparked plenty of debate. He said, "In front of goal, he's the best in the world, but his general play for such a good player is so poor. He's almost like a League Two player."
Headers or whatever it might be, in terms of front of goal, he's best in the world. But for his general play, for such a player, it is so poor. Not just today, I think he has to improve that. He's almost like a League Two player.
Those comments stood out because of the timing and the bigger picture surrounding Haaland's career. When Roy Keane made those comments, Haaland's record already spoke for itself. In his very first Premier League season, he broke the league's single-season scoring record with 36 goals, moving past the previous mark of 34 that Alan Shearer and Andrew Cole had shared for nearly 30 years. He had already won back-to-back Golden Boots and reached 50 Premier League goals in only 48 matches, achieving the milestone 17 games faster than anyone before him. Even with those remarkable achievements, Keane still described parts of Haaland's game by saying, "He's almost like a League Two player." There was another layer to the story that made those remarks attract even more attention. Roy Keane and Haaland's father, Erling Haaland, had a well-known rivalry during their playing days. In 2001, during the Manchester derby, Keane made a challenge on Erling that he later wrote in his autobiography was intentional. The incident remains one of the most discussed moments of Keane's career, and Erling's playing career declined afterward, though it is important not to overstate the direct impact of that single challenge on the rest of his career. More than 2 decades later, the spotlight shifted to Erling Haaland. Just 2 weeks after Keane's criticism, Haaland answered in the way he often does best, with goals. Against Wolverhampton Wanderers, he scored 4 times, including a first-half hat-trick, before adding a 4th with his left foot. After the match, reporters asked him about Keane's comments. Haaland kept his response short, saying, "I don't really care about that man."
Diskusjonen som rundt både Roy Keane blant annet, det ting som tenner deg?
Jeg bryr meg særlig ikke mye om den mannen, så det går helt fint.
Erling Haaland's first season at Manchester City was one of the greatest debut campaigns football has ever seen. In 53 matches, he scored an incredible 52 goals, including 36 inches the Premier League and 12 inches the Champions League. He finished as the competition's top scorer, ending the tournament 4 goals ahead of Mohamed Salah and 5 clear of Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. His remarkable consistency also made him the first player to score 50 goals in a season for an English club since 1931, placing his name alongside some of the sport's most historic achievements. One of his most unforgettable performances came in the Champions League against RB Leipzig, where he scored 5 goals in a single match. Only 2 players had ever managed that feat before him, making it another record-breaking night in a season filled with milestones. Manchester City went on to complete a historic treble, and Guardiola finally lifted the Champions League trophy he had spent more than a decade trying to win with the club. Looking back, Fabio Capello's early prediction seemed remarkably accurate. City had finally added the type of striker many believed they had been missing. There was, however, an important part of that Champions League story that often received less attention. Haaland did not score in the final against Inter Milan. Instead, Rodri scored the only goal of the match to secure the trophy. Even without finding the net, Haaland played an important tactical role throughout the game. His constant movement occupied Inter's central defenders, forcing them to stay alert and creating spaces that City looked to exploit. His influence was not measured by goals alone, but by the problems he created for the opposition over the full 90 minutes. That performance highlighted something Guardiola consistently valued. A striker could shape a match in ways that did not always appear on the score sheet. Years later, after a decade in charge and 20 major trophies, Guardiola's time at Manchester City came to an end, closing one of the most successful eras in the club's history. When Pep Guardiola's time at Manchester City came to an end, it marked the close of one of the most successful partnerships in modern football. Over the years, Guardiola and Erling Haaland helped transform expectations into trophies, breaking records, and collecting major honours along the way. Their time together showed how a world-class manager and an elite striker could push each other to even greater heights. As they went their separate ways, there was a sense that one remarkable chapter had ended, but another was only beginning. Haaland's farewell message captured that feeling in a simple sentence: "You made greatness feel normal." Just 6 weeks later, he was on a flight to the United States, preparing for a completely different challenge. Norway had qualified for its first FIFA World Cup in 28 years, ending a wait that had lasted nearly 3 decades. This time, there was no Guardiola directing every detail from the touchline, no Kevin De Bruyne delivering perfectly weighted passes, and no Manchester City system built around maximising his strengths. The focus shifted entirely to Haaland and what he could produce on football's biggest stage. On the 16th of June 2026, in Foxborough, Massachusetts, Haaland walked onto the field for the first World Cup match of his career. It was also a deeply personal moment. His father, Erling Haaland, had represented Norway at the World Cup 32 years earlier, but Erling had grown up without ever seeing his country qualify during his own lifetime. After 29 minutes, a low cross flashed across the penalty area. Haaland timed his run perfectly, arriving at the far post just before the ball reached him and calmly finishing into the net. Iraq responded with an equaliser, bringing the match back to level terms. Only 4 minutes later, their goalkeeper received a back pass and paused for a split second. Haaland reacted immediately, sprinting toward the ball before most players had even recognised the opportunity developing. Haaland reached the ball first, finished the chance, and gave Norway a 2-1 lead. 2 goals in just 42 minutes showed the same sharp instincts that had defined his career long before he arrived at Manchester City. There was no Kevin De Bruyne providing precise passes, no Rodri controlling the midfield behind him, and no squad assembled through years of record-breaking spending. It was a different team, a different stage, and a different challenge, yet the outcome looked remarkably familiar. Wearing Norway's colours at their first World Cup in 28 years, Haaland once again found a way to make the difference. His scoring record has followed him everywhere he has played, from Brighton Molde in Norway, to Red Bull Salzburg in Austria, Borussia Dortmund in Germany, Manchester City in England, and now the World Cup. The goals have continued to arrive. Along the way, Roy Keane questioned parts of his overall game, while Guardiola offered a very different perspective on what made Haaland so special. Guardiola often suggested that Haaland's greatest strength was something no coach could truly create. He explained that the striker's natural instinct inside the penalty area already existed before they worked together, and that his role was mainly to help the team get the best out of those qualities. Haaland's performances across different leagues, different clubs, and now on the international stage have supported that idea. No matter the manager, tactical system, or supporting cast, he has consistently found ways to score. Whether that ultimately makes him the greatest goalscorer the sport has ever seen is a matter of opinion, but his remarkable consistency across every level of the game has firmly placed him in that conversation. And the most remarkable part of this story is that Erling Haaland is still only at the beginning of what could become an even greater career. Guardiola has moved on, the Manchester City chapter has changed, and the familiar system that surrounded him is no longer there. Yet Haaland keeps delivering wherever he goes. Every tournament, every league, and every new challenge seems to add another chapter to an already incredible journey. That leaves one big question as the World Cup continues. Which team has the defenders, discipline, and game plan needed to slow him down when it matters most? No, I want to hear what you think. Drop your opinion in the comments and tell me which team you believe has the best chance of stopping Haaland during this World Cup. Do you think anyone can keep him quiet, or do you see him finishing as the tournament's top scorer? I'd love to read your predictions and see what everyone thinks. And if you enjoyed this video and made it all the way to the end, make sure to support the channel by leaving a like, subscribing to Matchio, and turning on notifications so you never miss future football stories, match breakdowns, and deep dives into the biggest moments in the game. Your support really helps the channel grow and allows us to keep bringing you more content like this. Before you go, leave one more comment and tell me who you think will lift the World Cup trophy. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.